I am Kobe Bean Bryant. Some people met me as a champion. But before the rings, before the parades down Figueroa, before the banners went up in Staples and the jerseys went up to the rafters, I was a kid with a ball, a notebook, and an obsession that felt like air. I was born in Philadelphia on August 23, 1978. My father, Joe Jellybean Bryant, danced with the game, a forward who could glide, smile, and score. My mother, Pamela, gave me the kind of love that steadies your feet when the whole world starts to move. Basketball wasn't just in the house, it was the house's heartbeat. When I was 6, we moved to Italy so my dad could keep playing. That's where I learned something most people never see. The game speaks every language. Cobblestone streets, outdoor courts near old stone churches, afternoon practices that smelled like leather, dust, and pasta from a restaurant 2 doors down. I picked up Italian, picked up footwork, picked up patience. Soccer taught me angles. Quiet taught me focus. I'd study moves in my head before I ever tried them with my hands. After games, I'd go home and watch VHS tapes my grandfather mailed from the States. Magic, MJ, Bird. I'd rewind Michael's footwork until the tape whined, freeze frame the shoulder fake, the pivot, the hang, the finish. Then I'd go outside and try to make time hold still for me, the same way it did for him. When we moved back to the U.S., I brought Italy with me, not the weather, the work. Lower Merion High School, Ardmore, Pennsylvania. The gym was a sanctuary and a laboratory. Before class, after class, when the janitor wanted to lock up, that's where you'd find me, engineering moves until sweat felt like truth. If the rim was a teacher, I was the kid who never wanted to leave office hours. People ask when I knew. The answer is simple. When obsession stopped feeling like effort. When the isolation of repetition felt like company. When the empty gym felt like applause because the ball off the glass, off the net, that sound was everything I needed. Championships in high school brought headlines. Headlines don't make you better. Film does. I watched my misses more than my makes. I graded my footwork harsher than my coach did. I studied the man guarding me like a final exam the night before. If excellence is a habit, I wanted it to be muscle memory. I declared for the NBA draft in 1996, 17 years old, skinny, hungry. I remember the suit, the handshake, the trade that sent me to the city where legends don't retire, they become architecture. Los Angeles, purple and gold, sun that doesn't apologize, pressure that doesn't blink. Rookie year. The game moves fast until you decide it moves at your speed. I learned by failing publicly and working privately. Those air balls in Utah, people thought they were a stain. To me, they were a blueprint. The next morning, while the city slept, I was in a dark gym shooting the same shots until the rim confessed. Pain is a tutor. You either drop the class or you show up early and sit in the front row. I chose the front row. I was a kid in a grown man's league, but my dreams didn't ask for permission. I sought out the best, asked veterans questions they didn't expect a teenager to ask. How do you read the top foot on a denial? How do you bait a help defender one step too deep? How do you hide fatigue in your eyes in the fourth when everybody's watching your chest for breath? Then came Phil and the triangle, a system that looks like geometry until you make it feel like jazz. Space, timing, trust, a discipline that tells you if the cut is there, you make it, even if you don't touch the ball for 5 possessions. I learned the beauty of patience in motion. I learned that dominance isn't volume, it's placement. And then there was Shaq, gravity with touch, a force with a smile, the kind of presence that made rims reconsider their life choices. We were oil and water,
and also gasoline and spark. People like the drama. I like the work. Two alphas don't have to become a problem if they agree on the solution. Win. I want it to be great, not liked. Respect comes late and stays. Popularity arrives early and leaves when it rains. So I leaned into the lonely hours, the 4 a.m. alarms, the ice baths, the film room glow on my face like a second sunrise. I lived in that space between tolerance and perfection and tried to make it home. Los Angeles can love you loud and doubt you loud. I learned to let both become fuel. The cheers don't make you better. The booing doesn't make you worse. The work makes you dangerous. My body became a checklist: balance, base, hips, shoulders, release, hold. The game became a language I wanted to speak without an accent. Then came the breakthrough. The years when repetition cashed its checks. The first ring doesn't just make you a champion, it makes you responsible. You stop chasing validation and start guarding standards. The second ring teaches you to silence comparison. The third teaches you how to carry expectation without letting it carry you away. People saw the fadeaway. They didn't see the hours I spent with a chair in an empty gym, pivoting around it like it was a defender who refused to be fooled. People saw the footwork. They didn't see the jump rope, the balance work, the calf raises until the floor felt like a spring and the baseline felt like a runway. People saw the killer instinct. They didn't see the notebooks, scouting reports I wrote on the men who were supposed to stop me, their tells, their breath when they were tired, the way their left foot betrayed their right hip when I jabbed twice and waited. The Mamba. The nickname came later, but the mentality was born the first time I realized effort could outthink talent. Mamba mentality is simple: the constant pursuit of being your best self. Not just better than your opponent, better than your yesterday. It lives in the curiosity to break a move into atoms and then rebuild it until it purrs. It lives in the humility to ask a trainer half your size how to save your knee for April. It lives in the ability to forgive yourself for a miss and punish yourself with the work to make sure it doesn't happen the same way twice. Fame is noise. Focus is music. I chose music. There were storms. The world knows that. In the moments when life off the court tried to drown the game, I went back to the only thing that had ever told me the truth with no agenda: the ball, the rim, the work. You don't get to edit your life in real time. You live it, you learn, you apologize where you must, you grow, and you keep moving. Accountability is a teammate too. The city wanted winners. We gave them 3 straight. Confetti looks the same every June, but it lands different when you know what you bled to earn it. Holding that trophy, I didn't think about champagne. I thought about air balls in Utah, chairs in empty gyms, alarms when the sky was still sleeping, and the sound a net makes when the ball doesn't touch the rim. Truth. Between rings, there's always the quiet, the part no one televises. Trainers' tables, ankles that need convincing, film that exposes your bad habits like a harsh friend, reps that feel like penance and salvation at the same time. Leadership means you go first. You dive on the floor in November so your rookie knows he has no excuse in May. You carry your mistakes in public and your teams in private. If you want to know who I was, don't just watch the highlights. Watch the possessions where nothing happened because I made it that way. Denying, reading, communicating with a glance, moving a teammate with a finger, hearing a coach's voice in the back of my head, and choosing the second counter instead of the first. Greatness isn't only the shot at the horn. It's the 1,000 decisions before the horn that make the shot inevitable. The city started to see it. This wasn't a fling. It was a marriage. Me and Los Angeles. Complicated, proud, honest. I didn't need safe love. I needed real. I studied MJ, not to copy him, but to honor him by becoming myself. If his footwork was a sentence, I wanted to write paragraphs in my own voice with the same grammar. If his competitive fire was a language, I wanted to be fluent but bilingual. Add something of my own. Relentlessness as a lifestyle, teaching as a reflex, storytelling as a second career I was already outlining in my head. Because even then I was writing. On flights, in hotels, between games. Children's stories, animation ideas, lessons wrapped in fables. The game was a canvas. Words were another one. I wanted to leave more than numbers. I wanted to leave maps for hoopers, for kids, for anyone who needed a route from fear to focus. People think greatness is a feeling. It's not. It's a
I studied MJ not to copy him, but to honor him by becoming myself. If his footwork was a sentence, I wanted to write paragraphs in my own voice with the same grammar. If his competitive fire was a language, I wanted to be fluent but bilingual, add something of my own, relentlessness as a lifestyle, teaching as a reflex, storytelling as a second career I was already outlining in my head. Because even then I was writing. On flights, in hotels, between games, children's stories, animation ideas, lessons wrapped in fables. The game was a canvas, words were another one. I wanted to leave more than numbers. I wanted to leave maps for hoopers, for kids, for anyone who needed a route from fear to focus. People think greatness is a feeling. It's not. It's a decision you make when no one is watching and then remake it tomorrow. This is where the first chapter closes. The boy from Philly in Italy becomes the man in Los Angeles who can carry a city's hope in one hand and a basketball in the other. The banners are coming. The rivalries are sharpening. The lessons are getting more expensive and more valuable. And the work? The work is just getting started. Championships teach you different languages. The first ring teaches you how to chase. The second teaches you how to defend. The third teaches you how to repeat yourself without becoming predictable. How to turn excellence from an event into a habit. We built our habit with Phil's triangle and Shaq's gravity and my obsession with edges, the half steps most people ignore. The game is a series of negotiations with space and time. You bargain with angles. You trade a jab for a lean for a shoulder for the lane. The scoreboard is just an audit of those negotiations. People like the soap opera, Kobe and Shaq. Two storms sharing one sky. We argued. Winners do. The difference is simple. When the ball went up, we spoke the same language. Win. I didn't care who got the headline if we got the Larry O'Brien. I wasn't chasing adjectives. I was collecting June. 2000, 2001, 2002. We walked into every arena like a weather report. Heavy pressure, clear result. I studied every primary defender the way a locksmith studies scratches on a keyhole. I wanted to know if he blinked on cross screens, if he tilted his head when he guessed wrong, if his top foot cheated when I paced at 60% then snapped to 100. I wanted to know the angle where help arrived one heartbeat late. I wanted to make the game a series of bad choices for the man in front of me. Foul, concede, or watch. Greatness isn't just talent, it's tolerance. Can you tolerate repetition long enough to turn it into revelation? Morning footwork, midday treatment, night film. The routine looks boring until you realize boredom is a rumor started by people who've never felt mastery. Rivalry sharpened edges. Portland taught us how to close a Game 7 when the building wanted to bury us. Sacramento taught us how to live inside noise that questioned our crown. San Antonio taught us patience, how to win chess with men who never blink. Every dynasty has a gauntlet. We sprinted through ours with bruises that still smile. The city of Los Angeles is a mirror. It reflects who you are when you forget you're being watched. I learned to lead by example before volume. Dive on the floor in November so your rookie understands May. Shake the last man on the bench's hand before you touch the trophy. Sit in the cold tub longer than your excuses. There's tape of me where I'm not scoring. I'm pointing. I'm moving teammates 6 inches to the left because 6 inches becomes a layup or a turnover. Leadership is geometry plus empathy. It's not the loud huddle speech.
It's the quiet eye line that tells you big, screen now, slip it, 3, 2, 1, go. It's telling a shooter who just missed, 3, keep shooting. I'll find you, next possession is yours. It's hearing the heartbeat of the room and setting the tempo anyway. The Mamba wasn't a costume, it was an operating system. When doubt tried to log in, the password was work. When fatigue tried to shut me down, the override was purpose. When pressure tried to flood the floor, the drainage was detail. People saw the fadeaway. They didn't see the off-season where I rebuilt the move at every angle. Baseline, middle, short corner, elbow, off each foot, of no dribble, 1 dribble, 2 dribbles. They didn't see me shoot it blindfolded in my head on flights until the motion felt like breathing. They didn't see the chair, the cones, the trainer's metronome counting rhythm while my feet wrote paragraphs. Shot selection is a relationship with time. You have to know when a bad shot is actually the best one because the possession is dying and the defense won the first 23 seconds. People call those tough shots. I call them timely. The work let me peace with the clock. When you win, the world congratulates you. When you dominate, the world negotiates with you. Proceed anyway. There were storms off the court. The world watched. I faced them. I learned. I apologized where I needed to. I returned to the only refuge that ever told me the truth without flattery, the work. You don't get to curate your life in real time. You live it, you carry your responsibility, and you improve. That's growth. That's also leadership, owning the chapters you wish you could edit and turning them into fuel for the man you're becoming. After the three-peat, failure came disguised as complacency. We lost. People said the dynasty was over. Good. Doubt is protein if you have the stomach for it. I sharpened, added counters to counters, studied foot-hip separation so I could sell space without gaining it. Built the inside-out left, stepped back right until defenders saw ghosts. I became fluent in second efforts, miss, self-rebound, immediate up fake, contact, finish. Pain tolerance went up, excuse tolerance down. Practice mattered. I demanded. I pushed. Not because I like conflict, but because banners don't accept IOUs. If I barked at you, I believed in you. If I ignored you, I didn't. I told teammates, I'll never ask you to do something I don't do when nobody's watching. 4 a.m. wasn't a myth, it was a meeting. You were invited. We talk about talent like it's magic. Talent is a seed. Obsession is water. Discipline is sunlight. Time is soil. You either garden every day or you wonder why nothing grows in June. The league evolved, so did I. Hand checking disappeared, spacing exploded. I leaned in the footwork economy. No wasted steps, no decorative dribbles. I turned the mid-post into a laboratory. My pivot became a switchblade. Shoulder ball high, eyes at the rim, pull it back to hip, shoulder through, fade or spin. React to the defender's mistake he doesn't know he made yet. Film was my second practice. I watched my defender's feet while everyone else admired highlights. Toes tell secrets. Hips confess. The weak hand whispers. I learned to hear a defender's fatigue before I saw it. Breath through the mouth, hands on shorts, blink rate. That's when you hunt. We lost people along the way. Role players to trades, staff to promotions, but the standard stayed. Purple and gold doesn't retire expectations. It invites reinvention. The locker room cycle tests your patience. The calendar tests your body. I started to understand something deeper. Legacy isn't what you take with you. It's what you leave in others. Habits are contagious. So is courage. There's a picture of me after a win. Ice on both knees, towel overhead, shoes half untied, eyes still scanning a game that's already over. That's who I was. Already in tomorrow, fixing today. This era ends where every era's due, in transition. The league rotates stars, teams retool, critics predict endings like weathermen in a drought. I heard it all and smiled. Good. Doubt is cardio for the mind. It keeps you from getting slow. The story pivots. The core changes. The goals don't. Another climb is coming. And I'm not tired. I'm hungry.
Dynasties don't die. They molt. After the three-peat, the roster changed, the league shifted, and I had to become a different animal and the same beast. The city still demanded June, and I still demanded the truth from myself. That meant building again, from the ground up, from the bones out. 2006, the year of the edge. There are seasons where the game stops being polite. 2005-06 was like that. I went back to the lab and came out with sharper tools, tighter handle in traffic, stronger base on fades, quicker reads on doubles, and a permission slip to hunt when the offense stalled. People called it selfish. I called it triage. When the patient is crashing, you don't ask for a committee, you act. 81 points. Toronto, January. Not planned, not forced, found. The game opened like a door, and I kept walking. Shot, stop, steal, sprint, pull. I was reading heat signatures, where the help died, where the closeouts lied. Every make was a sentence ending in period, not exclamation. No celebrating, no chest. Eyes forward, next possession. Greatness isn't volume, it's control. 81 wasn't about rage, it was about being calmly, relentlessly present. Numbers trend, habits last. That season taught me to carry a team with one hand and build a culture with the other. I pulled young guys into 6 a.m. workouts, sat with them in film, explained why a 2-inch angle would buy them an open life. Leadership is translation. Take the language of obsession and make it speak to rookies who just got here. Redeem team, cleaning the flag. USA basketball had a stain. We washed it with sweat. 2008, Beijing. I flipped a switch from volume scorer to tone setter. First practice, first drill, first collision. Let everyone in the room feel the standard. The assignment wasn't points, it was culture. LeBron, D. Wade, CP, Melo, we became a choir. Gold is a song you sing for a country that expects the chorus. Spain, fourth quarter, the game leaning either way. High screen, switch, corner three with a hand in my face. Down it goes, finger to lips. Shh. Not to the crowd, to doubt. We walked off with golds around our necks and a promise renewed. This is how you defend the crest. Pow, symmetry and trust. Every scorer needs a mirror, someone whose game reflects and complements. Pau Gasol was symmetry, touch, timing, intelligence. I could throw him the ball and trust the possession to come back better. We worked the two-man game like chess, high-low reads, duck-ins, blind seals, pocket passes that felt like secrets. I challenged him hard, publicly sometimes, not to break him, to unbury him. Greatness in others is a responsibility. He answered, and our offense sang. We went back to the finals in 2008, Boston. Old ghosts, new bruises. We lost. I tasted the confetti that wasn't ours and let it marinate. Failure doesn't just hurt, it informs. All summer, counter footwork versus strong chest defenders, mid-post patience versus late digs, reads out of hard traps to punish greed. We didn't just train moves, we trained answers. 2009, the craft wins. Orlando, finals. The game slowed to the speed of thinking. Hito and Richard stretched the floor. Dwight patrolled the air. My plan? Surgical. Early post touches to draw doubles, kick to corners, then pivot to the mid-range lab once help hesitated. Screen rejects, step-ins, glass work. When you see me kiss it high off the window, understand I spent hours practicing a shot designed to live above shot blockers' fingertips. Championship. 4th ring. People saw the trophy. I saw film of every rotation we forced, every bad decision we elicited. Winning is an art you practice with a scalpel, not a hammer. 2010. Rage with restraint. Back to the finals.
Back to Boston. 7 games of mud, elbows, and memory. This wasn't pretty. It was earned. Fingers taped, body barking, I leaned on the ugly tools. Glass, footwork, free throws, rebounds. Game 7, the shot wasn't falling. Fine. 15 rebounds. A star who can't pivot to a different impact is a mascot. I refused to be cute. We won with grit. 5th ring. In the locker room, I hugged Pau longer than cameras like. I told him, "Te amo, hermano." He knew what that meant. You didn't just help me win. You helped me become. Pain as a professor. The tab on greatness is paid in ligaments. Finger avulsions, tape it and learn to shoot through a splint. That season I rebuilt my touch with a compromised index, more left-hand reps, more off-foot finishes, more elbow control. Ankles, ice, stim, lift, repeat. Knees, strengthen what the joint can't. Pain is feedback. I listened, adjusted, never asked for permission. Footwork economy became my religion. Less bounce, more bite. If the clock is a predator, precision is your sanctuary. Show the ball, see the help, feel the top foot, commit. The move isn't the point, the read is. Why 81 matters less than one stop. Everyone quotes the 81. I replay a stop. Western semis, last minute, empty noise in my head. I shade baseline, invite the drive, meet on the gather, vertical, chest, grab the board, hit fish in stride. 2 points our way. That's 5 connected minds making a single sentence. That's basketball. Teaching while competing. As my minutes filled with miles, I taught more. In practice, in huddles, in whispers. Read hips, not hands. Top foot tells you the truth. Your pocket hand is a threat even when you don't shoot. Sprint to fail in practice. Sprint to succeed in games. Young guys started calling me Unc. I laughed and then doubled their homework. Mamba Mentality. Defined again. It's not anger, it's attention. It's choosing detail over drama, standards over sympathy, repetition over romance. It's waking up at 4 because excellence doesn't answer DMs after noon. It's apologizing to your body and then asking it for one more rep. It's watching film of your makes to remember who you are and film of your misses to respect who you're chasing. The city and I. Los Angeles and I had grown into each other. Complicated, honest, loyal. The banners weren't decorations, they were contracts. You don't hang them and relax. You hang them and renew your vows. People ask me if I was satisfied. Satisfaction is a couch. I preferred stairs. The next chapter would test that preference. Tendons, time, and transition. But understand something. I never measured my career in ease. I measured it in answers. And the game was about to ask a hard question.
There's a point in every career when your body asks a question your mind hasn't heard before. Mine came on a spring night in 2013. The tendon and the test. Achilles. One step, one drive, one snap, like a book closing in the middle of a sentence. Pain didn't roar, it declared. I knew before I hit the ground. You don't spend a lifetime studying your instrument and miss a broken string. But the game was still asking for points, and the clock was still asking for answers. So I stood up, limped to the line, and hit 2 free throws. Not for drama, for discipline. A promise to a younger version of me who swore he'd always finish the possession. Then I walked off. Surgery. Silence. The kind of rehab where minutes drip like cold water and progress hides behind millimeters. People said it was over. Perfect. Doubt is a fuel most folks are afraid to burn. I studied walking like it was footwork, studied standing like it was balance, studied steps like they were moves, calf raises until language failed, bands, pools, ice, STEM. Slow became a teacher. Patience, a teammate. I learned to love boring again, because boring is where better hides. The return. Playing chess with time. When I came back, I didn't try to bargain with the clock. I renegotiated my game. Less bounce, more angles. Less first step, more first read. I lived in the mid-post, lived on the glass, lived in the timing of help defenders and the arithmetic of space. The goal never changed. Answer, the possession. People wanted highlights. I wanted tape that told the truth about purpose. Some nights the numbers sang. Some nights they whispered. Either way, I loved the sound. Dear Basketball, a love letter and a bow. When I felt the finish line, I wrote it down. Dear Basketball. Because that's how you say goodbye to a love that grew you up with gratitude and craft. Words became pictures. Pictures became a short film. We put pencil to parchment and scored it with a heartbeat. It won an Oscar, but that wasn't the point. The point was to model something for every kid holding a ball or a brush. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Excellence translates. Mamba Sports Academy and Granite Studios, teaching as a reflex. I wasn't retiring from the work, I was changing arenas. Mamba Sports Academy was structure for obsession, biomechanics, film study, mental training, nutrition, a system for young athletes to build habits that outlive hype. We taught footwork like language, sleep like a skill, leadership like geometry. I wanted kids to understand why a 2-inch sprint angle matters, why a warm-up is a contract, why my bad is weaker than my plan. Granite Studios let me coach imagination, books, series, storytelling that smuggles discipline inside wonder. I wrote for the kid who needed a map out of doubt and into work. Fantasy worlds with real rules. Show up, be curious, keep your word. Championships are parades. Stories are bridges. Girl Dad. The title I wore easiest had nothing to do with numbers. Father. Gianna, Natalia, Bianca, Capri, my girls. Gym runs with Gigi were my favorite practices. Teaching her how to see the weak side tag, how to set a screen to free a friend, how to clap once for pace and twice for patience. She asked the best questions, why over how, which is what great players ask when they're building a mind for the game. She had it. The love, the grit, the quiet smile when a drill finally clicks. We'd sit courtside and break down spacing on WNBA possessions, point out reads, celebrate craft. People asked if I missed the NBA. I told them the truth. I don't miss playing. I miss teaching. And I get to do that every day. Being a girl dad isn't a slogan. It's a schedule. Carpool, homework, bedtime stories, braids that need a redo, games with snacks that go uneaten because nerves don't like pretzels. The house had trophies on shelves and crayons on the floor. Perfect. The final game, 60. April 13th, 2016. One last night under the lights. I didn't script it. I respected it. The ball found me. The clock forgave me. The shots told the truth. 60. The building roared like a decade condensed. I heard my younger self in the noise. The kid in Italy, the teenager in Lower Merion, the rookie with Utah air balls tattooed on memory, all of us meeting at the rim one last time. Mamba out. Mic down, smile up. Thank you. What the helicopter meant. Handled with reverence. I traveled by helicopter to fight traffic and fight time, get from practice to recital, from film to pickup, from gym to dinner. It gave me minutes back with my family. That's all it ever was, a tool to keep my promises. The day we didn't make it is not a story I own alone. Others' families, others' lives. Honor belongs to all of them. If you speak of that day, do it softly. Remember not the headlines, but the humans. Legacy. What I hope you carry. If my career is a book, the thesis is simple. Discipline is love. Love for your craft, your team, your family, your future self. Mamba Mentality wasn't a snarl. It was a sentence. Be better today than you were yesterday. No drama, just detail. Study like it's Game 7. Train like the season depends on Tuesday. Lead with example first, volume later. Forgive the miss. Punish the flaw with work. Be curious enough to ask why when how would be faster. Be humble enough to thank the trainer who saved your season with a band you thought was a toy. If you hoop, learn to love the unscored, the stunt that kills a drive, the cut that opens a friend, the screen set at just the right angle so a rookie gets to feel a roar. If you don't hoop, read that sentence again and replace stunt with favor, cut with sacrifice, screen with support. It's all the same play. Teach. Whatever you know, give it away. Knowledge hoarded shrinks. Knowledge shared compounds. To the one listening, you might be carrying a setback right now. An injury, a failure, a door that won't open. Here's the formula I trusted when the room went quiet. Tell the truth about where you are. No excuses. Make a plan so simple it's almost boring. Stack days, unsexy, relentless, non-negotiable. Review the film of your life. Keep the lessons, not the shame. Show up tomorrow. And when you finally get the moment you dreamed of, breathe. Make the read you rehearsed. Let the work talk. Smile afterward, not during. Then say thank you to the people who picked you up and to the kid you used to be who didn't quit in the empty gym. Why I still speak? Because the game never needed me. I needed the game. It made me a student, a teammate, a father who knows the value of eye contact and early arrivals. If anything I left behind helps you arrive early to your own life, good. Take it, improve it, pass it on. When you whisper Mamba forever, don't think about a fadeaway at the horn. Think about the alarm before dawn. Think about the apology that saves a friendship. Think about the study session that flips a grade. Think about the small, boring decision that makes a big, loud difference next June or 10 years from now. I was Kobe Bean Bryant. I am still the checklist before a big day. The voice that says, one more rep. The note in the margins that reads, angle, not force. I am the father in the front row, the coach who pauses practice to teach a foot, the writer who believes discipline is a plot twist worth reading. Be relentless, be precise, be grateful. And when the moment comes, be ready. Mamba forever.